You guys! It is episode 56 of the Electric Fancave on electricfeast.com. Kristin Latterell here, along with Corrigan Vaughn, and we are riding on a tidal wave of excitement. There are so many amazing things to talk about, I barely know where to begin. We've got big-time trailers, celebrities being adorable, movie reviews, early Oscar contenders, shocking Ninja Turtle news, and the return of Mulder and Scully. At the premiere of The Late Late Show, and the culmination of all of my dreams came true. So, settle in, because I am going to tell you the best story you've ever heard in your entire life, and it starts right now.
Right now! Let's just get right into it, Kristin.
Oh yes, we will. So, people, my roommate, bless her heart, calls me a couple weeks ago with this great news that she got tickets to the premiere of The Late Late Show with James Corden, right? So you remember, it used to be Craig Ferguson. James Corden is now the new host, and he had his first show aired on Monday. So she got tickets. Yes. And she got tickets to go see it. And I was like, okay. She's like, and the celebrity guest is Tom Hanks. You guys, and I think I've mentioned before, and I think both Corey and I have, is that Tom Hanks is an American treasure, and everybody loves him. And if you don't love him, you don't have a soul, and you're probably actually dead and just don't know it. So
exactly. There's no way not to like
There's
Tom
no
Hanks.
reason to not love. At this point, my excitement level was very high. We're like, we're going to be in the same room as him. Like, it's going to be amazing, right? So Katie wants to get down there really early. So I'm like, that's cool. So it's four of us. It's me, her, her sister.
Okay, let me just say that's smart, because when I went to see Tom Hanks on there, I didn't get in because we were a little bit later getting there. So she was on the right track there.
Right. So we got there, and she had like priority seating tickets. Okay. And there were four of us. So we get there, and we're kind of sitting in, and there's kind of, by the time we got there, the line was not too bad. So like, this is pretty good. I think we're okay. But then what happened is the line actually split, because half of the people there were for the Talking Dead show. So then we got moved up, and we were like the third people in line. So we were like, okay, this is amazing. This girl is coming out that's like at the event people, and they're handing out the waivers, like, yeah, you can use my face, yada, yada. And she stops with us, and she goes, oh, are you guys all 21? And we're like, yeah. And she's like, great, do me a favor, on the top of your form, write down your driver's license number and your birth date. And we're like, okay. So we do that, and then we get checked in, and they give us a green wristband and a black wristband. So we go through the check-in, and the guy's like, can I see your wristband? And we're like, Blackie's like, okay, you guys need to sit right here in this, like, front row. We're like, okay, well, some people only had green wristbands, and they sat somewhere else. So we're like, what does the black wristband mean? And I'm, like, trying to curb my enthusiasm. So I'm like, maybe it's, like, a fast pass for the bathroom once we get inside. And Katie's like,
are you 21?
Kristin,
you get to use the special bathroom.
That's the lamest thing ever. I was like, I don't want to think too much of it, because what if it's really nothing and I'm excited for nothing? So I was trying to curb the excitement level. So they let us in, and then we're standing in the hallway, and we're standing there, whatever. And then they kind of separate us. So there was us that had like black and green. Some people only had green, and then some people only had black. So then there was like 20 people who only had black, and they got to go in first. So we were like, oh, okay, maybe it's not as cool as we thought, whatever. So then our line gets to go in, and we're at the front of our line. We walk in, but they take us down to the bottom floor. So we're like, oh, maybe it is. I don't know. So we walk in, and the girl that we had talked to outside's like, oh, those are my bar girls. Come over here. And we're like, okay. So I don't know if you guys watched the show, but like, we could touch the stage with our feet. Okay.
It's an incredible bar.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And so right next to the stage is this bar, fully stocked. Great. And we sit on these bar stools in front of the bar, and we're like, holy mother of, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, like, the couch is right there. Yeah. Like, it was amazing. And then, so the guy comes out, and he's giving the spiel of, like, clapping and, be excited, blah, blah, blah. And so he tells us, like, hey, guy? I don't know. A British guy. Well, never seen him before. Okay. I forgot. First, when we walked in, Reggie Watts was standing there, just, like, talking to people and, like, shaking people's hands. And so we were like, oh, and he, like, said hi to us, and he was like, don't trust the girl that was, like, like, telling us where to go. He's like, don't trust her. She's one of you. She doesn't even work here, man. I'm like, oh, my God, you're so adorable, and I love you so much.
He is really adorable.
Okay, so then we sit down, and so, we're going through this whole thing, and so if you guys saw the show, they did this kind of montage clip of, like, them reenacting Tom Hanks's movies. So they did that before they actually did the interview part. So James Corden and Tom Hanks come out to do this little thing. So Tom Hanks they do their spiel, and it's like so funny. It was so great. And he goes to leave, and he looks over, makes eye contact with me, and goes, mimes like, get me a beer, like cracking open a beer, like looking at me, and I'm like, okay. I don't even know how to respond to this. I honestly don't think. I think I just smiled and was like, I can get tickets for sure. I'll get you one. And he walks away, and then the four of us are like, oh my gosh, like that was everything. We could have left after that and been happy with life.
You could have just died after that, and it's just like, I've done everything I set out to accomplish.
Yeah, it was close to that. So that was awesome, obviously. And then we waited a little bit, and then they come out to do the actual interviews. And so what he does is he brings both guests out at the same time.
Yeah.
And they come down these stairs through the crowd kind of and wave and do their thing.
Yeah.
So it's Mila Kunis and Tom Hanks, and they come down, and she's like beautiful and wonderful.
Unreal.
It's like a joke how pretty she. I'm like, I feel like you can't be a real person and be
when
that
he like
beautiful.
opened, I love this conceit that they do too. It's like when he introduces like who's going to be on the show, instead of it just showing a picture, he goes to their dressing room and he like, they open up the door and they talk to him, and when she opened up the door, I was just like, holy cow!
It's like she was backlit, her hair. I mean, she's just gorgeous. So gorgeous. And so she comes walking down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be anything in life. But that's okay. So she comes down, and then Tom Hanks comes down and sits there, and they're doing their interview, and he's, they're both just charming, and James Corden is just so adorable and so endearing and so gracious and just nervous. Like when they showed a little video of like how he became, and he got like a golden ticket, and he's doing this. He's literally sitting at his desk fanning himself with his cards. Like this poor man was probably sweating like no other.
Sure.
It was so wonderful.
And
so
his parents were there.
Okay,
when he like got choked up.
We almost started crying.
Yeah. He's introducing his parents. He's like, they're here. Yeah, he's joking about them, joking about a shirt his dad's wearing. And then he goes and he's like thanking them for being there.
And he's like
on the verge of tears. And then you see his mom just pick up her tissue.
Yeah. And she'd already been crying this whole time. So it was just so great. So he, anyway, does his little thing. And then, so they're doing their interview, and it kind of cuts to a commercial. So they're kind of talking. And Tom Cruise. Oh, God. I'm sorry. We're also talking about Mission Impossible later. So Tom Hanks looks over at us again and does the same thing, like, "Hey, get me a beer. Like, what are you guys doing over there?" And we're like, "Ah, we love you so much. Oh my gosh." And then he like says something to Mila Kunis, who then looks over and goes like she had never noticed the bar, and it's like, "Ah," and waves, and we're like, "Ah,
oh my God."
And they're talking and pointing, and I'm like, "Okay, this is so cool." And then they finish their interview, and Tom Hanks is wonderful and amazing and a treasure, and I just wanted to hug him. And then they're done with their interviews, and he goes, so Mila Kunis goes backstage. Tom Hanks walks over to us at the bar and goes, "You girls are way too young to be serving beer. Let me see your IDs. You guys have IDs?" And like, it's legit. You guys, he's like 1 foot from me. Because by this point, they'd moved us behind the bar instead. Yeah. And so we were like, we were dying. And like, the worst part is like, we weren't allowed to have our phones, so we couldn't take a picture with him, which was like such, like, that is the only thing where I'm like, oh, because there's no proof.
Oh, that's
but he's like talking, joking with us, and we're all like, Katie is about to pass out. Like her sister had been sitting next to her. And when he got up, her sister saw him kind of walking over, and she goes, puts her hand on Katie's leg. She's like, "Don't freak out, but he's walking over here." And we're just like, ah. And we like had these beers, and so we like, I handed him one. I'm like, "Oh, do you want this?" And he's like, being adorable. And he's like, "Well, whatever." I don't even know what he said after that.
So they actually gave you beer.
Yes, but we weren't allowed to. Well, here's the thing. So there were 4 open cold bottles, but they didn't give them to us to like actually drink. They were just sitting there. Okay. And so I was like, "Are we supposed to drink these or not drink them?" Right. But I stole a bottle cap, so that's my souvenir from the show. So it was like, I think they just I don't think they've got it figured out quite yet, what they want to do in that situation.
And what you're allowed to do.
And what you're allowed to do. And I didn't want to like start drinking it, have them be like, "Don't drink that." So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
And it's very precarious being in the front.
Yeah,
so then
that's a lot of responsibility.
It is a lot of responsibility. And so then he left and was amazing and wonderful. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you talked to us. Let's just leave. Like, can't possibly be anything else we're going to be doing now." And then they're like, they did like some, more crowd shots that were clapping. And James Corden did his beautiful song at the end, which was so wonderful. And he's like so cute.
Is he so precious?
I was like, we were dying. I was like, I just want to melt onto the floor of how cute you are right now. And afterwards, he was just, or before he did the song, he just got up and he was like, "I want to thank you all like so much for being here. This means so much to me. You guys have been such a great crowd, like our audience," and just going on and on. He was just so like sincere and wonderful. And And then he did his song, and he walks off, and it was beautiful. And then they're like, hey, we're going to do some extra crowd shots. So we're clapping and smiling. And it's like, by this point, we've been clapping and smiling for like an hour. My hands are sore.
It's getting old, for sure.
You guys, pro tip, don't wear any rings of any sort if you go to these. Because the clapping, honestly, I think I bruised my hand. Like, it hurt. So... And you're clapping and you're trying to look excited, but at this point I'm like, I'm done looking excited. I mean, I am still, but I'm like...
It's like your face hurts, you're kind of
it's like you've been,
raw.
Right, it's like you've gone to prom and like you've been smiling for a zillion pictures. Like, I literally cannot smile anymore.
I didn't go to prom, but I imagine that's exactly what it's like.
Yes, right? And so then they're like, okay, bar girls, we're going to do your close-up now. And so everybody's watching us, and the camera comes over, and they're like, hey, clap and smile and look over here. So we're like... yeah. And then they come in and like zoom in on us. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to look so terrible because... We're so awkward.
Right.
And it's true. We were totally awkward. But we did get some really good... We got 2 really good screen times. At the very beginning of the show, James Corden was like, oh, and thanks to Bud Light for sponsoring our bar. And we're like, hey, we're so cool. And then later they came back from a commercial break, and that's when they used their little close-up of us. But it was so cool and so fun. And then like the whole rest of the night, we're just like walking. We had to walk back. Oh, I forgot. Okay. So before, when we were in line, flashback, this British guy comes up to us, and he's like, oh, like, do you guys know who James Corden is? And we're like, no, not really, but we're here to see Tom Hanks. And he's like, oh, well, I'm from, I don't even think he said what news thing. I don't know. I wasn't really listening to him. Yeah. Just like a news, she's like, I do like a news thing that's in Britain. Do you mind if we interview you afterwards? We kind of want to see what audiences think. And we're like, yeah, sure, of course. So we get his number. And so he's like, I'll meet you guys back over here on this sidewalk area. We're like, okay. So we come out of the show on just jazz because Tom Hanks talked to us and basically is like our friend now. So... Tom Hanks, if you want to come on our podcast, please do.
Feel free. That's what you should have just been like, oh my God, you want to be on the podcast?
I honestly couldn't even legitimately think any farther than like...
Don't fall off stool.
Yeah. So we go out and the guy, so Greg is the British guy and he's like, okay, like we want to, talk to you. And so they put us on camera. And so it's me and Katie's sister, my roommate, Bree, and then Katie and her friend, Sarah. So they kind of split us into 2, and they're just like, so what'd you think of the show? And, no.
Oh, I was like, what? She was there? Okay,
Katie's,
sorry, continue.
My roommate's sister. His name is Bree.
Okay. There would be,
Bree.
There are no commas in real life. I was confused.
Yeah.
Okay,
so anyway, so we're there, and so he's like interviewing us, and we're like, okay, it was so great. We loved him. We love him. He's great. And we give him our names, all this stuff. And we're like, okay, cool. That was fun. Random. We're like, because we're joking before. And I don't know if he'd said where he was from before. But I'm like, great. He's probably going to murder us in a van. Like, even from a real news.
I know, you're just one of those following guys, someone.
Like, oh, yeah, I'm from the news. Like, get in my van and I'll interview you. I'm like, great. He's probably going to kill us.
Seems legit.
Seems legit. So we're, it's like Kimmy Schmidt when he's like, oh, I have some of those in my van. She's like, okay. And you're like, no, don't get in the van, Kimmy Schmidt.
Where was your Titus?
Yeah, then we had to, like, walk back through the grove, and, like, I'm just telling random strangers that I just talked to Tom Hanks, and he asked for my ID. None of which care. They all think I'm crazy. One guy had, like, a stroller, and he kind of, like, steered his baby away, like, hey, crazy pants, like, get away from me.
What is wrong with these people? Well, it's L.A.
I don't know.
Why is
so we're just, like, on a high the whole ride home. Katie was, like, driving, and all of a sudden she would just start giggling, and then she'd go, you guys, here's the thing, she goes. Here's the thing. He did not have to come talk to us, but he looked over and said, those girls look interesting. I'm going to go say hi to them. True. Like, he could have, because Mila Kunis just went backstage. Nothing against her. I mean, whatever. No, but fine. I don't expect anybody to want to come talk to us, but he came over and said hi. And it was like,
and that's why he's a treasure.
And that's why he's amazing and wonderful, besides the fact that he's just wonderful. So, yeah. It was so fun. And then the next day, Greg sends us the link. I'm like, oh, here's the link of the news. We're like, oh, I guess he really was on a news, like, site thing. And so,
you guys, I posted this on Electric Fancave's page because Kristin did not understand the gravity of what this was. She's like, I made my news debut on some random British news. It was Sky News, you guys. Sky News, the first 24-hour news network in the UK. Probably one of the biggest news channels on the planet, and Kristin is interviewed on this. So if you go to our page... Yeah, it's a little bit of a big deal. If you go to the Electric Fan Cave Facebook page, you can see the link up there, and you can watch her freak out.
You can. You can see. I feel like I do a very good job. I think this show has prepared me to sound somewhat like I know what I'm talking about.
That's a good point, yeah.
And so by then, and I had kind of like, but I was like, well, so, and although I was doing a lot of the hand motion, so you could tell I was excited because I'm like, he was so great, and his hand, and I'm like, oh gosh, what's going on there with those things? We should probably tie them down at some point because they're like, have a mind of their own.
I've got Cthulhu hands.
Right? And so they quote me in the in the actual article, but then right above my name, there's 2 videos in it. So one's like a clip of the show, and then the other one is like a little clip of like them talking to him, and then us giving our little interview responses. And so it was so fun and so amazing. And I've peaked now at 28. Like, I'm never going to do, like, what else am I going to do that's better than, like,
I don't know where you
offering
go from
Tom
there.
Hanks a beer. I don't know.
I got nothing for you. That's it.
I know. Our friend Michelle said that the only thing that could top it was maybe meeting Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. But it'd be like level playing field.
It would be the same. Yeah. But I think that's still something to reach for. I mean, obviously, there's nothing that's going to be better.
Yeah. That's a good plateau to be on, though, I'd say. If you can move laterally across that.
I still don't think I've processed it emotionally correctly because I still, all day Sunday, was like, all night, I was like, I feel like it wasn't real. Like, it didn't really happen. I know it did because I remember him coming up to us. I feel like
Tom Hanks isn't real. Like, the idea of just being there and this happening is like...
It's just so surreal, but he was just so lovely, and
and you guys, you need to watch the show too. Like, James Corden is an amazing host. I love the way he's doing everything. He's doing so many unique things with it. Reggie Watts is hilarious as his band leader / sidekick guy. I don't know exactly what he is, but he's great on it. And last night was Chris Pine and who was the other guest? I don't know. I'm blinded by Chris Pine. Oh, and Patricia Arquette. And they were great. They did a fun, like, sketch, like a soap opera-y type thing. And it's so fun. And James Corden is amazing. I don't know if I mentioned it last week or not, but if you haven't seen it, there's a great documentary on YouTube called When Corden Met Barlow. And he is, Gary Barlow is the lead singer of Take That, who, as you know, I'm obsessed with. Yes. And... also, James Corden is obsessed with Gary Barlow. And so he got to basically hang out for 2 days with Gary Barlow and learn about, like, his life story and everything. Because, like, Gary Barlow had, like, the hugest, like, sort of downfall in the public eye and all that kind of stuff, and has managed to come back from it. Like Robert Downey Jr. status? But, like, sadder. Oh. Because it wasn't like he was being destructive. It was basically that, like, Robbie Williams made the world turn on him. And then he got sad and depressed and fat, and then everybody made fun of him, and he just became the butt of every joke in the UK, and his life was just really awful. And then he managed to come back from it, and is like, he interviewed now James Corden, huge. Or James Corden talked to him. And Gary Barlow has come back, and he's lucky enough to interview James Corden. Watch it; it's on YouTube. When Corden. Okay, I'm gonna watch it because you guys, really, James Corden is, and I didn't really know who he was going in, and then I remembered he was in Begin Again. Was that the movie I saw with Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo, which was super wonderful. He's in it and endearing and adorable. Okay, he's also in Into the Woods. He is also in Into the Woods, but he's just like so like eager and sincere and just stoked to be there. And he's really lovely with the guests, just the way he talks to them. And he's like, for some reason, he has the desk. I think the desk makes him uncomfortable, so he sits like next to the guests, with them, which is so cute. And then they touch each other, and and I think it's really great. It's kind of got a little bit of a Graham Norton feel, where he's like very close to them, you know, which I like. And I think he's definitely sort of patterning it after that in a sense. I think so, because we don't have anything like Graham Norton here, right? And so I think he's got a cool. I don't know, I think it's a cool way to do it, and so I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes once they kind of get their, feet under them and figure out all that situation. But it's really, really good. It is hard because it's on at 12:30, really late. But if you guys are ever up late, or if you want to DVR it and then watch it, but it's wonderful and great. So it's on CBS 12:30, late show. He's doing a great job so far. So make sure you catch it. Cares. Yeah, yeah. I mean, anyway, to move on. I mean, this is magical. It is. It's been a magical week because you also saw someone famous. I did see someone famous. I went, like I said, I'm obsessed with Gary Barlow from Take That. Gary Barlow wrote the music to a Broadway play called Finding Neverland, based on the movie. So if you've seen that, it's that. So there's a lot of crying involved. There's a lot of ugly crying, which I always love, when you get to the end of something and it's like everybody's sobbing and stuff like that, and it's the mixture of people who are open crying and the people who are trying their darndest not to let it show, and they're like, it's I just need to, there's something in my eye, and and so there's a lot of dudes doing the and it's just like all sniffles across the whole thing, right. But it was great. It was amazing. And it starred Matthew Morrison and Kelsey Grammer. in it, and so they were wonderful, and there were a couple, Cheers jokes in it, which was fun. Great. At one point, they're in a bar and they're celebrating, and one of the characters turns to Kelsey Grammer's character and goes, "Do they say cheers in America?" And the crowd goes wild, and Kelsey Grammer just kind of like looks out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
That's awesome.
So good. But so it was like super, super fun. This is my first ever time going to a Broadway play on Broadway. I've seen a million tours of Broadway plays. In fact, there was like in Times Square, they have like all the things that are up on Broadway, and I'd seen like, of the 9 of them that were up on the board, I'd seen like 6. So it's like I've seen most Broadway things, but I'd never been on Broadway before, so it was super cool to do that. And then afterwards, I'd walk outside, and there's like the crowd of people waiting by the stage door. And eventually, like, Kelsey Grammer comes out, and he's meeting everyone, so I take a few pictures. And then Matthew Morrison comes out, and I had actually seen him on Good Morning America a few days before, and he was like, "This is so taxing." And they were doing 2 shows that day. It was a Sunday. And it's in previews right now. But so they've been talking about it, and he said on Good Morning America, he was like, the show was so taxing because I'm on stage the entire time. Like, it's like there's barely a scene where he's not on stage talking, singing, all that. And so he's like, when I go home, I don't even talk to my wife. He's like, we have like cue card things, and we write down what we need to say. But he's like, I can't even speak after this. Yeah. And so he didn't really talk to anyone, but he came out and he signed things, and he's taking pictures or whatever. And I didn't like super feel like pushing up front and trying to get in there and take a picture. I'm sorry, Melanie. If I had been thinking about this, because Melanie Ray, one of our listeners, is a huge Glee fan, and if I had really been like clear-headed at that point, I would have handed my program to someone and had him sign it and sent it to her. Didn't even think of it. So I apologize for that lack of foresight. If I meet him again, I will send you something. But what happened was, unintentionally, I ended up in a photo with Matthew Morrison because these girls were taking a picture, and instead of them taking the selfie, he did it. So he reaches his arm out, and being tall and all that kind of stuff, he's getting everybody behind him, and I'm standing in the back making the most mischievous face on the planet. Like, my eyes are to the side. It looks like you're gonna murder him. I know, like I look menacing. I was back there with my, like I was busted in the act, and I'm trying to figure out how to get away. Like, you're like the guy from the Oscars behind you. Yeah. It's like, yeah. I looked like I was about to go like full John Wilkes Booth on him, and then I'm like, oh. So I was looking through tagged photos on Instagram from Finding Neverland. I was like, oh, look at this, and then I was like, oh, there's me standing there looking like a creeper in this photo. So that's so good. Yeah, so I commented on it. I was like, I'm simultaneously sorry and not sorry for accidentally photobombing your photo. Yeah. Did they say anything back to you? Yeah, she was like, oh my God, I'm glad you found it. That's really funny. Like, yep, that's me. Because I'm sure they took the picture and then were like, look at this girl in the background. Because you're also in a bright red coat. Yeah, it's not like you're wearing black, like kind of like I do not blend in. The background. It's like, here's everything. It's like, I mean, it's your eyes like drawn to it, and you're like, "What is that?" Oh my God, it's Corey. It takes away from what's happening in the foreground of the photo. Just, so I'm glad they didn't crop me out, and I got to see how creeptastic I looked in that. But if you are in New York, I highly recommend Finding Neverland. It's super cool, and it'll only get better because again, it's in previews right now. So they're working out the kinks and whatnot, and it's Gary Barlow music. We both went to like preview shows, sort of. That's fun. You guys, I was the first ever person. I'm sorry, I'm like totally going backwards, but I was the first ever person to sit in that bar. At that bar, Kristin's the first. When they show retrospectives of this, and they're gonna be like, "This was the first our first show. People at the bar." Yep, it's gonna be in there. It's gonna be in the roll of footage. So it was a pretty exciting week. It is exciting, you guys. There's lots of cool things that have happened. So indeed, but there's also cool things in pop culture. So we will get to that. Thank you for letting us, fangirl out on what a week we've been having on that. But we will discuss actual pop culture things. So what's on the docket for us, Kristin? I forget what order we're going in. We just got so excited. I know, and you kind of have like the real order. I just have a fake order. This is true. Well, let's talk about our TV things then. Okay, TV things. I'll talk about the first one because this actually goes with like celebrities being adorable. It does, yeah. So, yeah, as you guys know, I'm a big Arrow, Flash fan, and so this I just thought was one of those things where celebrities
or stars of these shows kind of reach out to fans in just really nice, almost boring ways a little bit. It's not like he didn't like flashy. So this girl, young girl, she's, first of all, we'll link to it on the story, but she made these invitations that are rad.
Incredible.
I don't know how she got these made, but it's like, it's her, she had like a superhero kind of birthday party, and she loves Arrow the most. And so her pictures of, there's Arrow, you know, and looks like a comic book drawing of him when he's got his hood on, standing there, and then it's like someone had drawn a picture of her in a purple one standing back to back with him, and it's like, oh, she's turning whatever it is, 12 or 13, and you know, 12. It's like in the likeness of how the show starts, of like, oh, you know, he says like, I came back to save my city, and he's like, I had to become something else, and she does something similar, and it's just really adorable.
My name is Natalie D. After 1 year as an 11-year-old, I have come home with one goal: to be 1 year closer to being a teenager. But to do that, I must first turn 12. To have the best sleepover ever, I must be someone else. I must be something else.
It's like so great. And so her mom sent it to Stephen and Amell and was like, hey, my daughter loves you. Like, just wanted, I don't even really know what.
Yeah, I don't know if she was like, want to come?
Didn't really go into like, will you come or whatever. And so he instead sends her mom this video that he tapes. It's like, I'm so sorry I'm missing your birthday, but I'm filming. I'm actually going to be filming probably up until the time your party starts, so I'm so sorry I can't make it, but I just wanted to wish you happy. This just really wonderful, endearing video of him like saying happy birthday, like such a great fan.
It's just
and
like something your friends would send you, you know?
Totally.
Like it doesn't feel...
Like if it was like when that one time where me and Bree were going to come up and visit you, and Emily and Jerry our friends were supposed to come with us, and then they realized they double booked, and they made this like video of like, I'm sorry we're missing it, we're so dumb. Like that's what this reminded me of him, like he knows her, and it's like, sorry I can't make it to your party, like I'm a little busy.
Give my love to your parents.
Yeah, and she's sitting there just like just like, and all of her friends are like, oh, looking at her, looking at and her mom's recording the reaction, and it is just priceless and wonderful. And so
I wish her mom hadn't stopped recording, because clearly she's coming over to hug her mother, and I just want to see that moment.
Me too, but it's just so cute, and I'm like, Stephen Amell, like, good job, like, you're a stand-up guy, because that was just like, I don't know, it was really cool. And
it's fun because also, like, not to diminish charity works or whatever, but it wasn't like one of those things where it was like, this girl is dying, and he, you know, like, he doesn't, there's no pressure to do something like this. There's no urgency to it. It's just that he wanted to do this for a fan who did a cool thing, you know?
Did a really cool thing. And so
she made a birthday party invitation that's patterned after my show. I'm totally into that. Like,
and frankly, it was I kind of want to call him and be like, can you make the invitations for my birthday?
What are you doing?
This is rad.
Seriously.
But anyway, so it was really cool, and he was awesome and neat. So
it's precious. Anyway. We have that linked on the blog. You know, you might need it. I was like, oh, I didn't think I was going to cry at this, and then I did.
I totally did, because then I didn't, at first I wasn't sure which one she was, because there's like all the girls were sitting together, and then I look over and you see her, and you can kind of see she's wearing like the green, and she's like doing this, and has glasses, and she's like starting to take them off, and I'm like, oh yeah.
That's so nice.
I'm like, that's so nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
watch
it was, you should watch it. Check it out.
And then in other TV news, X-Files is getting another season, a short season. So a special event, as they call it. Yeah. That's what we're calling all of those things these days, you know. That's with all those special events, American Crime, the Slap, the whatever. So it's a special event. But Duchovny and Anderson are in, which is all that matters. Right. We should have called Avery. Just seen what his response was. Maybe we'll ask Avery Holton how he feels about this and get back to you. But
we'll have to also need to ask Lauren, because while she loves Benedict Cumberbatch,
this is her OTP.
I mean, this is her. Yes. Oh yes.
Okay. Well, our Cumberbatch correspondent.
Like when we were kids, it was like weird because I was like, I've never, like, the show's kind of weird, like, and she was so into it, and it was before, I think, personally, before, like, super crazy fans were, like, really a big, you know, where you had, like...
X-Files is where a lot of that started, you know?
Yeah,
like, X-Files is the originator of, like, shipping and, like, all these kinds of things.
And she was part of that, so I'll ask her, and you ask Avery, and we'll kind of get their feedback and let you guys know, but it'll probably be ridiculous.
Yeah. So. I'm just really excited about it. I won't lie, like, the movies were not my bag, but I feel like we're in a different time now, and, like, another series is what's needed for this kind of thing, and I think the writing is just better on TV than it is in a lot of, like, movie versions of things. So I feel like it's a good way to sort of get back into the story and get the good Mulder Scully chemistry that we've all grown to love and get to develop. I mean, this is the thing, is I'm just a TV person in general. As much as I like going to movies and stuff like that, I only go to movies I know I'm going to love generally. You know, that's why I do it. But TV, I just feel like I love developing something over like time.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
and that's
so
what you need
watch...
for X-Files is time. It's not something that you wrap up in an hour and a half. You know, we need to watch them go through their trials and tribulations together and question things and, you know, all their emotional trauma that you can't get out in that period of time. So,
and that always comes back to haunt them like a season and a half later, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that it happened. Right. You know, and something. And,
So, I mean, a couple of people.
Right.
There's a group of people on Twitter that tend to have conversations with, like, we just tag each other when we want to talk about something related to sci-fi or whatever. And so this morning I woke up and I had one that was like, what do we think of this X-Files reboot? And they were mostly like, I don't know. I've been burned before by the movies. And someone was like, and after seeing the comebacks of Arrested Development and Community, I don't know how much I want this. Like, it's going to ruin it. But I just said, I was like, I choose to be blindly optimistic about this. I'm just so excited to have more of this. And I've recently been rewatching X-Files, you know, for the past 6 months or whatever, just when I can in the background when I'm doing work and stuff like that. So I'm like, this is the perfect time. I'm in X-Files mode. I'm ready for more of it. Bring it on. Really, it could just be David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, like, taking long walks in the park. And I'd be like, that's fine. I'm okay with this.
With the music playing in the background.
Yeah. Do, do, do. Have you ever seen the Downton Abbey X-Files mashup on YouTube? It's great. Someone put both theme songs together, and it's like they're the same song, essentially. When you put them together, it's like just this wonderful, bizarre...
You know what? I actually think that was one of the mashup things they did at Quiz for the video round, where they do...
Oh, yeah, where they do the intro to one... like,
yeah, and you have to name the
video
song
and
the video.
Yeah.
I think so. For some reason, I think that, and that maybe I'm making that up, but I actually really think that's what it was.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah, they're very similar songs, so you should look that up on YouTube. It's pretty great when you listen to it. You're like, oh, these are the same, and then also you're like, oh, these sound great together.
Yeah,
this is good.
Also into it.
Yeah,
totally into
I'm
it.
totally for this. So I'm excited about that. And as a side note, also the other thing that's being developed right now is that Key and Peele's substitute teacher sketch is apparently being turned into a movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what to make of it. But...
I don't know what to make of that either. I'm like, it's so great for like 3 minutes.
Right. I mean,
so obviously it'll be more than what it is. But.
Yeah, and Jordan Peele is going to be playing like the rival teacher to Keegan-Michael Key, and I don't know. I'm not sure what to...
Yeah, I'm going to wait until something more comes... I mean, when I read the synopsis, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe. You know, because I was like, what are they going to make the synopsis about? He can't just get people's names wrong for the whole hour and a half. So, I don't know. It should be interesting. I mean, they're funny. And so, and the guys that are writing produce the Key and Peele show. So, it's not like they got... You know, I know. I feel like they'll stay true to it. And I'm sure Key and Peele will have input in it and help them. So
I honestly think, like, worst case scenario, it's just going to be really stupid, but it'll probably still be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's probably $1 theater. At this point, I'm going to say I'll probably see it in the dollar, but if the trailer looks really good, maybe we'll go
This
see
is
it.
Winning an Academy Award, like Fast and Furious.
Oh my God.
Kristin.
Should probably move into that discussion of some movies, you guys. So, yesterday I was, just looking on the internet, and Vin Diesel has made a very bold prediction that Furious 7 will win the Oscar for Best Picture.
And I love the way he's so
twice.
Forceful about this. He goes, unless the Oscars don't want to be relevant at all, which for one thing, they don't. The Oscars have no interest in being relevant. But I love that assertion. Like, the only way this isn't going to win Best Picture is if the Academy Awards
Oscars
are relevant.
don't, It's so good. And here's the thing about it. This is why I really love Fast and Furious. I think, too, is that when they make these, they love them.
Yeah, they believe in this franchise.
They believe in it. It's not like... And I think that really makes a difference into how the fans take it. Because if you're like, oh, they just make it because they have to... Whatever. Sometimes you get that feeling you're watching it.
It's not just money that's...
It's not just money for them. Like, and they've, like, legitimately transferred that feeling of family, like, that theme that they have in the film to off-screen. And I think that really came apparent with Paul Walker's death. Mm-hmm. And the way that you saw each of them deal with it separately and together and trying to kind of move through that process.
Yeah.
And so it's so for me, it's almost like I really want them to win now because he just believes in it so much, and for him, this movie and especially this one means so much to them that you're like, I do hope it gets some kind of recognition other than it's Paul Walker's last one, or other than it's just another Furious, Fast and Furious movie. But I don't know. I hope for their sakes, because so much of them went into making it, especially having to kind of fix, change the ending and do all of that. Are you there still?
Yeah.
You're frozen on my screen. Sorry.
I was like, sorry, I was just listening to you.
Okay, good. And then I can tell, I'm like, I've also been talking a long time, and she hasn't And I'm like, maybe she's not there. So anyway,
it's because I don't have my mic, so you can't tell
right.
my normal mm-hms and things are being...
aren't loud enough. Yeah. But anyway, so just for for their sake, and I think too, because I just feel such a great connection with all these actors, obviously, because we've grown up with them, especially with these movies, and you guys obviously know how we feel about them.
Yeah.
But it was just so, at first I was like, when I just read the tagline, I'm like, oh, okay, Vin Diesel made a joke. I'm like, oh no,
he means this.
He means this. From his core, he's like, hey, Academy, we're coming for you, kind of thing. And you're like, what? I love it. I love it.
No, I absolutely love that. And I think you're right. It's that there's something great about how much they believe in this. And they aren't just making movies just to make a buck. This is... they don't do this for 15 years or whatever, just for that, but they really that's why they keep coming back. That's why you have the full cast. There's nobody who's I
don't feel like doing this one.
The
only people who aren't in it are the people who get killed off.
Right, exactly. And they want to be. They'd be there if they could.
Yeah, they'd be there if they could. So and that, I think, it kind of validates me a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one that thinks these are great. They also think these
not
are
Hillary
great.
Clinton. Chelsea Clinton also thinks they're great. I was watching
You know what? I know I like her.
What was she on? Kimmel, I think. It was on Kimmel the other day, and Jimmy Kimmel was saying how, he had asked her and her husband what the most recent movie they'd seen was the last time he saw them, and it had been the second 300 movie. It's everyone expects her to be watching all these really
the Academy Award winning ones.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, it was that. And then he was like, he said something about Fast and Furious, and she was like, I'm so excited. I was like, yeah.
Oh, I have to watch it. I want to see it.
Yeah, I was so stoked about it. And she's like, she's not laughing about it. She's not joking. She's like, I'm so excited for Furious 7. Like, yes, awesome. President's daughter.
So
into
good.
It. So that was super fun. So
hey, Academy, even Chelsea.
Yeah,
Clinton,
pay attention.
Furious 7.
Bill Clinton's daughter says Furious 7. Pay attention.
And in other movie news, we had some really cool trailers come out this week, and another great franchise.
Relatedly, I don't know which one you were going to start with, but I think also we have to say Mission Impossible because I think this is connected. Someone who really believes in their franchise and doesn't just do it for a buck.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that exact same thing, Corey.
We're on the same wavelength.
I was going to say, new Mission Impossible, you guys, is exactly the same in that respect, as in Tom Cruise so believes in it. And this trailer looks so freaking fun. Oh my God. And I was reading an article, so there's this, I don't know if you guys have seen it, it's a teaser, and for a teaser, it actually gives you quite a lot of plot.
It does.
So it was actually really great teaser. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a regular trailer. Are you kidding me? And he's, up to his normal crazy shenanigans, but there is a point where he's hanging off the side of an airplane. And he was saying he did that.
Of course he did, because he's Tom
Cruise, and he's awesome. And people are like, oh, he's crazy. I'm like, that fool does all of his own stunts and is amazing at them. So I don't care what you guys think of. I'm going to defend that guy.
And now I keep thinking of people that we should have been getting their opinions on, because Justin Cavender from Geek Legacy obviously is going to have thoughts on this as a huge Tom Cruise fan. But this is, and it's Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg doing this buddy thing. Also, by the way, when I saw Jeremy Renner in the trailer, for some reason my brain immediately went, "Ooh, it's like a Bourne Identity crossover." And I was like, "Oh no, that."
But there's a really great part of him and what's his name, Rames.
Oh, Ving Rhames.
Yeah. Where they pop up out of somewhere. Did you see that part? Mm-hmm. It was a split second. I'm like, yep, done, in. I don't even know. And then I thought Paula Patton was supposed to be in it, and I can't tell if she's the girl in the dress because you never see her face.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't see her in that.
Yeah, me neither, but I thought for some reason, I guess I just assumed she was going to be in it because she took the phone at the last movie, so.
Yeah, it just looks I feel like the Mission Impossible movies are getting more and more, fun as they go along, too. If you think about it, it's the first one, they've always been fun, but they were, more serious in the
first two. Well, the second one was just, oh gosh, the second one was not the best.
I won't lie. I watched it all the time though when I was younger. Like, regardless.
It was so boring. It was so boring. Like, he was so melodramatic in it. And we're like, okay, we get it. Like, you want to marry her or whatever.
Yeah.
The third one is where it really started to pick. The third one's when it starts getting good. And then the fourth one was even better than the third one. And so this one has to be better. I don't know. They've gotten progressively more awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about Simon Pegg, who I just feel like
can do no wrong.
I mean, I was going to say he can do no wrong, but there are movies I don't like. Like, obviously, I've said I don't like Paul, you know, things like that. But, like, in general, I think he's so wonderful, and I'm so excited. And then you sent me the trailer for another Simon Pegg movie this morning that is, like, mind-blowingly adorable.
So good, you guys. It's Lake Bell, who I love.
Yeah, Lake Bell's great.
And Simon Pegg, and so she plays this. I don't really know what's wrong with her. She's got some kind of anxiety issue.
Yeah,
or something.
I feel like she's just, you know, kind of one of those people who's like never gotten a hold of her life, and she's just stressed out by life in general.
Everything, and so it's just her, and she accidentally steals her friend's blind date with Simon Pegg, and it just looks adorable. And they look, oh gosh, it looks so fun.
So she's basically like she's made some sort of commitment to sort of like get control of her life. So the movie's called Man Up, you know. So she's you know, she's like, you know what, I'm gonna take things as they come or whatever, and she ends up with this book that's like, you know, this is supposed to be the way that they recognize each other, the blind date, and then she's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go with it and have a great time, and then she eventually tells Simon Pegg, FYI, I'm not actually the right girl. And you get like this, he's very upset, very, very upset, and then it looks like, you know, antics ensue from that.
Yeah.
So it looks like it doesn't, like, my guess is that it doesn't even spend most of the movie on the good part before that. It feels like it's going to be pretty soon that they find out it's the wrong person, and then we watch what develops from there. But it looks, oh my gosh, just watching this trailer, I was like, my heart is so warm, and Simon Pegg is, like, peak adorable. Like, I love when he gets to kind of play, like almost heartthrobby, you know, like where you're just like, why am I so attracted to Simon Pegg? I don't
and it's like so weird. It's so foreign because I'm like, usually he's like the weirdo, not weirdo, but he plays kind of quirky characters where this guy seems rather like normal in terms of like other things that he's done.
Like he's just, and he's like, he's a romantic, you know, that's kind of the thing.
And it's just, and it just looks, you guys watch the trailer. It's called Man Up. It's really charming. So
the link is on the blog.
We're very excited about that. And then in other franchise news, we got a new Transporter film minus Jason Statham. So this seems to be a prequel to Jason. It's like a young Jason Statham.
I was going to say, is that what they're doing with it? Because otherwise, it's annoying how much this guy is just like, he is Jason Statham.
Yeah. So I think it is because he sounds like him in the trailer.
He sounds like him. He looks exactly like him from the back and side. Same.
The IMDb trailer or lists his name as being Frank Martin, which is Transporter's name. So
got it.
So I think it's kind of like maybe, I don't know, him in his early days or something. He still seems to be really good at transporting things.
Yeah.
And he seems to be transporting triplets in this. I don't know really what's going on.
It's weird when like prequels to things still take place after the originals. That always throws me off. You know, like why is this modern? If it's old.
Did Jason Statham just not want to do them anymore? And so I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I'm gonna
see it. I'll diss it, but you know.
Yeah. I was never a huge Transporter fan. I was always like, it's on TV, so I'll watch it. Right, I don't think I've actually even seen one the full way through.
Yeah. Or unedited.
Or unedited. Yeah, I've never seen it like on DVD or something.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know. I don't know. There must have been an issue with Jason Statham. So like, well, we'll just make it without you. And
he was making Furious 7, probably.
And they were like, you know, he's too busy making Expendables movies. He doesn't have time to be doing that.
Good grief. But Jason Statham, as opposed to your Tom Cruise or your Fast and Furious, that guy will just take whatever comes his way. Like,
remember he did that James Franco movie? Do you remember that?
What James Franco movie?
It was called Homefront, and him and his he's like, you know, of course, retired black ops guy, and him and his daughter moved to the small town where James Franco's like a drug lord or something in this like backwater town, and of course he like stands up to him. I don't know what he does, and then he tries to kill him and his daughter, and it's this whole thing, and you're like, what? It's on Netflix. I'm too bad Netflix Roulette didn't give us that one. That would have been a fun one to watch.
I know. Maybe next time. By the way, sorry. A, we have too much to talk about this week. And B, I'm in New Jersey and didn't get a chance to watch the movie. So we've gotten a few of your feedback on this Netflix Roulette, but you get one more week. So if you didn't get to watch the movie yet, like me, then...
Or if you did watch it correctly, as we were supposed to and told to, maybe possibly stayed up late past a time that you wanted to be up to watch it, because thinking you were going to need to talk about it this morning.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh, well. Gold stars for you.
Story of our lives. It's the Fancave.
Story
Kristin
of my life.
overachieves.
I watch all the things, and Corey never does.
That was kind of brilliant.
I know.
Next time I'm going to like extract that, and next time this happens, I'm just going to insert that over that, because we know this will happen again, book club or Netflix roulette or something. That I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't do my homework.
I'm gonna go ahead and not have done that. So,
yeah.
Cool.
So sorry about that, but yeah. I lost my train of thought. So transporting,
Yeah, transporter. And then I think what we're doing is we're throwing it over to Mack.
Oh yeah, let's we've got Mack here because I mean, this was a big deal.
Traumatic news here,
Very traumatic news. Donatello of the Ninja Turtles has shuffled off this mortal coil. He has
in layman's terms, he got killed.
He got ganked. He got sledgehammered to death. Supposedly.
That's
terrible. Naturally, I get a text message from Mack this week that he wants to deal with this. He wants to process this on the cave. So of course, our comics correspondent is here to discuss that with us.
Mack, tell us what you think.
All right, Mack, what the heck is going on here? What? Moment of silence. One. Okay, what the heck, man?
All right. Well, I participated in your moment of silence as out of respect for you, but I don't think it's necessary.
What?
Okay, let me clarify what I'm saying. I love Donatello. Okay. Who doesn't love Donatello? We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But what happened was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 44, Donatello is seemingly killed by Rocksteady's
split in half.
Sledgehammer. He's
split
described
in half.
It's described as being split in half, but I don't think it's literal. I think it's more figurative. I think it's more the Archer split in half.
Archer? Like the cartoon?
Yeah, like the cartoon.
I have not seen that. I'm sorry.
Well, they do a lot of literal and figurative jokes. Anyway, and it doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, I totally missed that. Okay.
It's okay. So yeah, but really what happened was his shell got cracked open.
Yeah. That kills turtles, Mack.
Okay, but not mutant sentient turtles who have mastered ninjutsu and other disciplines. Look, this is what happened. Basically, Shredder, as a failsafe, had Bebop and Rocksteady on call to go kill Donatello out of revenge, while the other turtles were busy trying to stop Krang from turning the Earth into a new Ultramanon.
I'm glad you're saying it out loud and not me.
Yeah,
and to be clear, I mean, this is like a crazy plan in which it's like basically the turtles have convinced Shredder that they're working with him.
Yeah,
and
it's all a double cross.
Yeah, there's like all these levels of double cross, and then there's like this scientist who also is double crossing, and
Stockman.
Yeah, Stockman, and so there's all of this like crazy stuff going on. Meanwhile, like Shredder obviously, doesn't really trust the turtles as far as he can throw them. And so that's why the failsafe of Bebop and Rocksteady were there in the first place.
Right. So obviously Metalhead wasn't enough to defend Donatello. And honestly I feel like Donatello, I mean look, like this is what it is. Bebop and Rocksteady like to be considered like the jokey turtle villains. Mm-hmm. But they're actually, and especially when Kevin Eastman is writing it, they're threatening, like they're menacing, because they really play up their actual like animalness, like that if an actual rhino human hybrid would be incredibly hard to fight.
That's my nightmare, I think.
Yeah, no matter how ninja-y you are, like it doesn't matter, right? So Donnie, who's like obviously all the turtles are really well disciplined, and even though maybe some people think that Donnie isn't the most disciplined, and he spends more time focusing on learning new like technological advancements and chemistry and whatever. But he's a good fight, but he just couldn't, he couldn't do it on his own because they're strong. So I think that like the point for this tangent is that I don't think that if he is dead, fans should think that it's like a lame death for Donatello.
No.
No, it's not.
No, not at all.
Because if it is, which I don't think it is, his actual death, I would be okay with it because it would be cool to see. It's cool that they are showing Bebop and Rocksteady as threatening enough to kill a turtle.
Yeah.
Because it would really add to their character development and being taken more seriously as villains. Or not that they're not already, but anyway, it's cool. I think that's cool. But here, okay. So, what's the next question?
Well, I mean, my initial thought was, do you think this is for real? And here,
Okay.
I'm not a regular Turtles reader. I've read this arc, right? And I mean, they have Donatello, like, he knows the entire time. He, like, every panel you see him in, he's got that sad face. He tells the rest of the turtles he loves them. Like,
yeah.
Why?
Like, well, because all right. The reason why I don't think it's for real is for a lot of reasons.
Okay. Sock it to me.
Okay, you could go with like, I mean, like pick your poison or whatever. Tom's just getting killed in Alien Isolation. But anyway, it could be like you could either decide to go like full like Hunter S. Thompson with it and just like analyze the data and be like, no, it can't be possible because it wasn't even they didn't say he was dead on a page, like they didn't use the word death. Like they don't necessarily like have a funeral for him, without the funeral it's totally null void.
Okay, but we're not there yet.
Right, we're not there yet. There's one more issue, so we don't know. We're left in this limbo where we're left to assume he's dead because that's how they set it up. But it could go anyway. And then you could also add to the fact that like a preview for the next issue showed Donatello in a bed, like he might be in a coma instead of actually dead.
Yeah.
So like that would probably be my like ace in the hole if we were having a debate about this in high school. I would go with like a really cool long-winded argument about like what the turtles mean and why you can't really like actually kill a turtle because it's just not going to happen. Like if you just look at their history, he wouldn't stick around, and I will get to that. Okay. But if we were arguing in a high school debate class, the fact that they showed him in a coma in the next issue would be my
That's a pretty good trump card.
Secret move, right? Yeah. Exactly. It's my trap card. You've activated my trap card.
This is what I get I never read the previews because this is me, like, I also don't watch the previews for at the end of TV shows for next week episode. Right. I don't even watch the little, like, montage at the beginning of America's Funniest Home Videos because I don't want it ruined for me, so I did not read the preview for this one. So, okay.
Well, that's okay. Okay, that's all right. But the main reason why I wanted to come on and talk about this is because when I heard it, I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way. You can't kill Donatello.
Right.
And you can't kill any of the turtles.
Right.
And if you do, I think that that's a mistake. And not because I think that killing characters is a mistake and that like sticking to it is a mistake. Like, I don't think that. Like, I think that I respect when companies respect their characters' deaths,
Right, yeah.
Like, I'm not necessarily the person being like, Clark Kent needs to be the only Superman we have forever. Bruce Wayne needs to be the only Batman we have forever. Like, I'm not saying it like that. But it's different with the Turtles.
Okay.
And I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. And when I heard that Donatello died, like, okay, so I like you were saying, I actually don't read the current IDW Ninja Turtle comic. I did in the beginning. I started it and then I just like got behind. But I will read it now, actually, because I just read this issue and it was really good. And so I'm going to go back and read the whole run. So next time I'm on talking about the Turtles, I'll have that knowledge.
You can go ahead and add that to my poll, Mack.
Yeah, all right, I will. I'll throw it on there. Yeah, we'll go down that rabbit hole together. Yeah. But I watched the cartoon. I mean, like, I don't need to like go down my like Ninja Turtle
prove your
resume.
TMNT.
I love the Ninja Turtles. I'm a big fan. Anyway. So, anyways, but here's what it is. If you were gonna, okay, the Ninja Turtles are a superhero team.
Mm-hmm.
Like at their core, that's what they are. They're a comic book superhero team, and the Ninja Turtles really are superheroes, like just as much as the Power Rangers is superheroes, or in that sort of similar fashion. Like you wouldn't make the argument that they're superheroes if you really broke it down. You'd call them like vigilantes or like something like that. But I think that really, if you look at it, they are superheroes, and they're a superhero team that was introduced as a team. Like it wasn't like the Avengers where they're characters that were put together, right? The Ninja Turtles are an entity. They're like a unit of these four characters, and they make up that team, and they have for the entire existence of that property.
Right.
And they're brothers, and they all represent one specific like character archetype. They're so like heavily divided in their personalities, even though they have they're very similar and they get along, but they each have their like comically one thing that they're good at, and they operate as a unit like that. Like the Ninja Turtles are used as an example of character archetypes. Like it's common for someone to be like, you're pitching a character and they're like, well, what kind of Ninja Turtle are they, or which one are they, or what combination of the two are they? Like you can go with any of them. Like for example, Spider-Man, he's a Mikey Donnie. Captain America, straight up Leo.
Okay. Yes.
Iron Man's a Donnie Raph. Thor is dumb. I don't know. I can't pick for Thor.
I don't know why you keep insisting on bringing up Thor. This is clearly.
I was going down the Avengers roster in the film.
It's like you have no authority to talk about Thor. Yeah. Let's leave Thor out of things.
Right. Batman's a Leo Donnie. I think that Superman's a Leo Mikey because he's a little ignorant. And a little bit simple.
I legitimately never thought about this before, but now this, like, as you say it makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. So, I have a lot of points I want to make, but to take Donnie out of the Turtles would mean that there's a spot that needs to be filled.
Right. And you can't just make another turtle.
Well, right. You can't like Venus de Milo it, which was the name of the turtle that they made up for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. Yeah. But well, you could, but that's dumb.
But it's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. But like you can't replace Donnie with like Casey Jones or April or like Karai or some other character in Ninja Turtles and be like, okay, they're the Ninja Turtles now, our roster shifted. Like, they're not the Fantastic Four, because the Fantastic Four is very similar. They each all have their own thing that they offer to the team. Yeah. Human Torch is Mikey. The Thing is Raphael. Reed Richards is kind of a Leo, but not really because he's more of a Donnie.
I think to say, wouldn't he be a Donnie?
Yeah, he is a Donnie. And Sue Storm is definitely the Leo because she's the bravest of all of them. Easily, hands down. But the Fantastic Four, it's different because the name of the team is the Fantastic Four. So as long as there's four of them and they're remotely fantastic in some way, you can have the roster be shifted out, right? You can replace the Thing with She-Hulk, and the people who read the comic are going to be like, "What the hell? Like, this isn't the Fantastic Four." I mean, some of them might, but
obviously they will. Yeah. That's always going to be a variable.
That's always going to happen.
It's still different.
But the majority of the people who are smart and the people you respect aren't going to think that. But with the Ninja Turtles, it's in their name.
It is.
They're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So if you can't replace Donnie with someone that can't fit those four criteria, which would be really weird if they could find someone like I said, like they Venus de Milo it and make up their own turtle, which would just feel stupid because it'd feel like, well, what was the point of killing Donnie anyway if you're gonna do that? So I really feel like in the grand scheme of things, if you look at it, he can't be dead.
Thanks for talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with us.
You are super welcome. You are super shelcome. Did that work?
I like it.
Okay.
I think that's good. So, back to me and Kristin in the future. I'm still okay. I still, Mack doesn't think that that it's for real. I'm not sure. All I know is I got a little misty.
All I know is that you guys. Here's the thing. Growing up, I played a lot of Ninja Turtles Nintendo.
Okay? Oh yeah. Oh man.
Like that was
classic.
That was probably like I would probably say like 5 games that I like really played. I wasn't super into video games, and so like the ones that I played, I always played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with my brother because it was always more fun, especially the second one. When you had 2 people and it was more fun to fight. It wasn't just like that. Up this ladder.
So the ladders were just I don't know. For some reason I love those ladders.
Yeah, and so we always would play this, and I was always Donatello, and so I have this just like connection, I feel like, with him, where it's like me and Donatello, we went through all these adventures together.
We've seen some ish, yeah. And as Mack and I discussed, I think there's this sense for I think the kinds of people who read comics or who have nerdy interests and things like that like Donatello is your homeboy, you connect with his character, and so killing him off, that's just very emotional and sad for anyone watching. So we'll see what happens. I told Mack to add it to my poll, and so I'll keep you updated on what happens in the last one.
Please do.
Yeah, we'll hope. We're praying for you, buddy. Yeah.
Pull through, Donatello. You got this, Donnie.
You can do this. But boy, it was grim. So, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Did we pull off everything?
We did it.
I really didn't think we were going to be able to do that efficiently.
I didn't think so either. It was probably because I feel like I might have been talking super fast when I told my story because I was so excited.
Yeah.
So I think it was a little bit shorter than I initially thought it would be. Like when I practiced it in the mirror. Just kidding, I didn't practice it in the mirror.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of
and I'm like, oh, James, well, let me tell you about the first time I was on your show. I was actually sitting right over where those fine people are. Hello, bar people.
Someday.
Yeah. Someday when he has us on.
I also wanted to make a comment. One of my favorite parts of that episode was when, out of nowhere, Mila Kunis makes a Star Trek reference. And it's like, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
She's
Tom Hanks just kind of looks at her like,
well,
what?
And Tom Hanks loves Star Trek, too, which is hilarious. And she's like... What were they saying about Velcro? Like, I don't.
Well, it was the one where Reggie Watts had the question for Tom Hanks, and it was like super weird. And Tom Hanks like, well, they didn't have Velcro back then, so this is like AV, BV, and then AV, and everyone's like, oh, Tom Hanks, you're adorable.
And everyone laughs, and then Mila Kunis is like, fun fact,
and I'm like, you're amazing.
Yeah,
and
she's
I also wish.
According to Star Trek, Vulcans are the ones who brought Velcro.
to here. She's like, so there you go, and you're just like, what?
Okay.
She's like, you're awesome. Like,
yeah, she's such a like. She loves playing WoW, and like she's super
I've loved
geek.
her. I've loved her. Actually, my first tweet ever was sort of about Mila Kunis. So there you go.
Sort of.
So you know how remember that guy asked her to go to the Marine Corps ball with her, and she went, and it was like so cute and wonderful. So my first tweet was about how my friend that I didn't know was like, he was looking for a date and was like, oh, do you want to go with him to the Marine Corps ball? And I couldn't because we were going to Kamikaze, but I was like, I feel like Mila Kunis. Someone asked me to the Marine Corps ball. I'm like,
I love it. See, we're just like almost to that couch. Look at that. You've already been asked to the Mean Girls? Marine. I don't know where my mind is.
Corps ball. I mean, here we go. James Corden, if you want us to swing by, we'd love to chat with you. Because
Cameron, hook us up. Hook us up with your boss. Cameron.
Let us know if he needs random guests one night.
Yeah.
Well, he's done pretty well so far. His first 2 shows have had really good guests, so the chances of us getting on are very slim.
In last night's with Chris Pine, it was so funny is when he opens up the door, James Corden's like, he's like, I've known Chris for a while now, but still, every time I see him, he's just so handsome. And I'm like, it's true. Like, I saw him in person, and it is like he exudes like handsome and like star quality, like LL Cool J, like we talked about. Like, you're just like, and the greatest thing is he's like super nice. So like even after like it took me a minute to like get my like words back afterwards. Like all I managed to do was like selfie and like took a picture with him and all that kind of stuff. But then he started walking away, and I like this girl who I was had become friends with at this premiere where we were hanging out. she like moves up and she loves Chris Pine, and I managed to be like, wait, Chris, she wants to meet you, and he like came back and kissed her, and like, you know, she freaked out, you know, and it was great. It's just
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine and the voice and like all the things, all the Chris Pine.
Those eyes.
Just everything is correct.
They really catch you. Those eyes.
Everything works.
And remember he did that commercial for Audi where he had that guy behind the bar that was like, and it's so good. You keep talking about this Neil Patrick Harris photobomb, but
it's just so relevant.
Can we put that video on there too? Because I want to watch it again. That's one of my
favorite.
The
Chris Pine one or the Neil Patrick Harris? Yeah, the Chris Pine.
Well, let's put both. Let's put them all on there.
Both. Chris Pine sliding into the bar and the guy sliding out from behind Neil Patrick Harris.
You guys. And then you could just compare them with Corey's face because she's making the exact same face that they are making in both of those.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there's that.
One of these things is not like the other. And it's Corey.
Yeah. As usual.
As per usual.
Oh,
but anyway, you guys, we went through our list, and we're super proud of ourselves for being so awesome.
You would think after like 56 episodes, we would not be so excited every time we're efficient with our time, but it's still new.
It's still new. It's new every morning.
Every morning, yes. It's
so. But anyway, so thanks for joining us. Thanks so much for listening in and letting us tell our crazy stories. As per usual, you can find us on Twitter at Electric Fan Cave. We're on Facebook. You can look us up on the iTunes. Make sure you rate and review us over there. We're on YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all those fun spots. So you can check out the cast, share it with your friends, let them know. Let us know. We love hearing from you. Make sure if you guys haven't watched Barefoot that you watch that and let us know what you think. We heard already from Duncan and from Melanie. So we'd love to hear from you on that. We are reading The Stars Never Go Out.
All the light we cannot see.
Oh, well, so close.
We're struggling. We need to set a date for that. We apologize, but it's the end of the quarter for me. My brain is applesauce.
I met Tom Hanks, so I'm really just don't know where I'm going. Yeah, I mean, I'm really kind of too big to be doing this anymore because I was on Sky News. So
yeah, she's outgrown this show. So I look forward to introducing you to our new host next week. Let's see what happens. It's gonna be like a stuffed teddy bear. Like, you'll never leave me.
It's gonna be. Are you gonna do that?
Shifty eyes.
I'm gonna close my medicine cabinet, and Corey's gonna be standing behind me in her red jacket, and I'm like, ah!
Exactly.
Oh man.
Dun, dun, dun.
Anyway, so we'll let you know what the date is for book club. We will get that figured out. So make sure you read all the light in the sky. All light you can't see.
I don't know why you keep trying to bring the sky into this conversation.
I don't know. I feel like light is in the sky. I don't know. Whatever. This game is hard.
It is.
I'm all discombobulated. But anyway, do those things, and we will see you next week. So, for the Electric Fan Cave, I'm Kristin Latterell.
I'm Corrigan Vaughn.
Take care, kids.
Peace out, everybody. All right, so you ready?
Oh, am I ready? That's adorable. I was born ready, Corey.
Let's do this. Matt, have you ever written fan fiction?
Yeah, I have. I will admit to writing fan fiction one time. Well, what does fan fiction even mean, Corrigan?